Welcome everybody to another episode of Goosebumps Podcast Can Be Murder. I'm one of your multiple hosts tonight. I'm Bumps in the Night. Tonight I'm here with Dead Shock Studios, aka Brandon Sime. I'm also here with the Grinch. And Grinch, your YouTube channel name was what again?
It's Citizen Goosebumps fan.
So guys, if you're here again, that means you've been enjoying our commentary on the books, movies, and shows and such. And today we're going to be talking about book number 3, Monster Blood. So, Monster Blood was released, I want to say in early 94, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe 93? It was 93 because Dead House and Stay in the Basement were 92. We said Stay in the Basement was the summer of 92, so this was probably fall of 92, if not beginning of 93.
Yeah. Oh, 1992.
October, I bet.
Right. It was one of the first wave of books next to Welcome to Dead Basement.
Yep. Monster Blood is more or less the unofficial mascot of the series. Personally, to me, every time I saw the Goosebumps logo, I thought it was Monster Blood. I mean, I know it's slime, but it just kind of fits that premises. It was, the main color was green like the Monster Blood, and I mean, think about like the intro to the TV series. When the slime's coming down, I always thought that was Monster Blood, like slowly eating the episode.
It's honestly kind of what I thought.
Okay, glad we're all on that premises. But yeah.
Also, people liked the book when it first came out, but people got after number 4, if I remember correctly, because there's 4 Monster Blood books. I'll say after 3.
Dude, there's 4 in just the original series.
How many books can you write about Monster Blood? And one doesn't even have that. It has blue slime, with lips.
So
think about blood. It was honestly really dumb. In the second book, it's has a very good creature in it, but after number 2, it's just go all downhill from there.
No, I agree with you. Guys, think about this. So a lot of the Goosebumps books are loosely based on those horror films from like the 1950s, you know. It Came from Outer Space, The Blob, stuff like that. Monster Blood is loosely based on The Blob. That was my entire rant. Stein loves slime. He really does. Like, he should have named himself R.L. Slime because he loves this shit so much, he constantly uses it.
Easily.
I think that's what Grinch was saying, right? There's more Monster Blood books than dummy books?
Yep.
Well, at least for the original series.
Yeah, well, Bump in the Night actually made a book about Blob, which is called Blob the Air One, so he definitely did make a Blob book, so inspiration for that. I love how, like, Stein really loves, like, ooze and stuff, because you had the ooze.
Yep.
In Fear Street, you have Monster Blood, you have the Blob that ate everyone. Probably another one that I just can't think of right now, but, you know, Stein really does like his slime.
He's definitely stuck in his wiener in a can of slime before. You can't tell me he hasn't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Stein loves slime. Slime was big in the 90s. He's just going with the hits.
Actually, I have a question.
Yes.
If you remember the Goosebumps movie, they actually have the Blob, the air one, but not that they never show Monster Blood in that movie.
I think they were saving Monster Blood.
I think they were saving it, but also I could have swore, and I'm probably wrong about this, but I could have swore that there was like a 2-second frame of Monster Blood in like a little scene.
I thought they were saving it for the movie, but then they didn't go that direction because the Haunted Halloween was just kind of like, even though it wasn't bad, they were just kind of like, Goosebumps movie.
It was just Night of the Living Dummy 4.
Yes, but it's a prequel. Anyway, let's talk about the book. Let's talk about the plot. All right, so Monster Blood follows Evan and his dog Trigger as they go to stay in Hotlanta, Georgia, with crazy great Aunt Catherine, because his parents are looking to buy a house because he's moving. It's the summer, so no school shenanigans. He gets like a set of house rules. Stay out of the spare bedroom, even though it's boarded up and shit. He goes out and... Oh, Aunt Catherine has this crazy, nasty black cat named Sarah Beth. 90s name. He's out in the neighborhood and he meets this girl named Andy. She's a girl, and that's kind of where we go. Anybody want to jump in here?
Well, basically, the one thing I will say about the aunt is I remember as a kid, I always thought it was so weird that, like, the episode, she was, like, this more kind than she was in the book. And in the book, I always thought of her, like, more as, like, a hillbilly.
Huh.
True.
Interesting. Well, I know she was deaf, but it didn't really seem to matter. Like, that wasn't really a crucial plot point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's really strange to me how Evan just kind of has to live in the house, you know, with
with the aunt and whatever. But, like, what would happen if, say, like, they have a fire or something? She's deaf. How are you going to tell her, like, hey, we need to get out of the house?
I think she'd see the smoke.
I just have a question.
What's that?
Is that I know how they got the monster blood in the first book, but in the later books, besides 2 and 3, I don't know how he got that. And number 4, how does his friend still have a jug of that stuff?
I like the origin for this monster blood. To me, this was the most believable. Like, they go to an old, decrepit toy store. The guy tries to talk him out of buying it, and he's like, "No, I really want it." And the can was creepy. It was this old, rusty blue can that said monster blood on it.
At that point, it was like, it's monster blood for who the heck cares? I found the monster blood.
I like the origin to this monster blood, though. Out of all the monster blood origins, this one was the best, in my opinion.
Oh, true. Easily.
Well, I guess we're not counting monster blood for breakfast, but that monster blood origin was pretty good, too.
Yeah. See, I remember bits of that one, but I barely remember
that one. Had a dark ending. The kid literally let the plant kill his friend because his friend was an asshole.
True.
But actually, I used how they got the monster blood in that one for the characters in my story to get the monster blood in the Goosebumps Beyond verse. Order that shit online, baby!
Yeah, actually, I noticed something interesting.
Yes.
Reading the book, it says right here, but can I have some of the little monster blood that's left, some mementos? And suddenly it just disappeared. But in the episode, they just destroyed it. They captured the thing again. But in more monster blood, which is supposed to be monster blood 2, it's still there. And I don't know how, but they defeated by feeding it food, airplane food.
We're talking about the episode now at this point, right? More monster blood?
Sorry, I just want to reference that.
Yeah, no, you're great. Honestly, I really enjoyed More Monster Blood. I thought for a direct sequel, it was a direct sequel to an episode. It was its own thing. I really enjoyed Monster Blood. More Monster Blood, I thought it was a nice take on how to follow up a series with your own content. Why didn't we get more of stuff like that instead of Chillology? But that's another conversation for another day.
Yeah, that's a whole video in itself.
Yeah, actually, fun fact, if you actually have the DVD of Chillology, I actually have it. The cover as DVD.
Monster Blood 3.
Yeah, Monster Blood 3, and then the disc has Monster Blood 1 on it.
Yeah, seriously, why does it have Monster Blood 1 on the cover of a Chillology that, like, seriously, were they that desperate?
Yeah.
I mean, like, my thing is, they didn't really have anything to go off of because Chillology was an original story, so it's just like, heck with it, just throw it all together, it'll be fine.
Yeah, but they couldn't make a brand new cover for it.
Yeah, but my thing is, they didn't have, like, original artwork for it.
True.
Either.
But they could have come up with something. They really could have.
I'm not saying, like, being lazy is fine. No, I'm just saying, like, it's stupid, but yeah.
Give Jacobus a little bit of money. He would have made a cover art for that shit.
Remember that we said that the first book was capitalism? The second book was...
capitalism.
Endangering plants. And what was the third one? What's the main thing about that? Because all we had to go for was that a cat can turn into a hot lady that gets killed by her own monster blood.
Oh, right. Okay, so for this one's easy. The main villain of this book is sexism. Because she was being put down by men, and that's why she became a witch. And she was avenging witches from the witch trials, and that's why she made the monster blood. Did
you even read the book?
No, I did. Yes. I was looking for a bullshit answer. Here you go. The real monster in this one is Christianity, because they hunted witches. And she was a witch.
The evil one.
I'm sorry. I can't control myself sometimes.
You saw the episode. The aunt said herself that she was trying to perform witchcraft.
Yeah, she was a fucking vagabond. See? Capitalism. She needed a place to stay. If she didn't need a place to stay, none of this would have happened. Capitalism's always the reason. Sarah Beth was just kind of a and that's really all there is to it.
Let me get this straight. The answer that you used for the first book, you added for the third book.
Yep. Listen, they're interchangeable. The end.
We're already on episode 3. I'm already run myself crazy.
No, I'd say Sarah Beth really was the villain. There was no driving force behind her being a bitch beside her being a bitch.
Yeah.
She was a mean girl before Mean Girls was a movie. Let's talk about how monster blood grows. I think that was a neat concept until Evan decided to try to put his ass in the tub because he was definitely trying to get frisky with it.
Oh, definitely. Also, just Like, the whole thing with Trigger getting it was really interesting in the book.
Oh, the giant dog? The pony-sized dog?
Yeah, the episode did a terrible job.
Well, for one, it wasn't even the right dog. Trigger was a Cocker Spaniel.
Yeah, and it wasn't like Trigger like a golden retriever in that one.
In the episode he was, but he should have been a Cocker Spaniel the size of a camel.
Yeah, actually, hey, the dog was trying to do his best. He was trying to be a good boy for the episode. Don't blame him.
Oh, he was a good boy all day long. He knocked the door down with his paw. He was Clifford, but he wasn't Red.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Did R.L. Stine just decide to rip off Clifford to end the book? He's like, fuck, I don't know what to do. Oh, I don't know, Clifford.
He's like, all right, Crud, what are we going to do, guys? I got it. We're going to rip off Clifford.
Does a line of coke. Clifford, but he's not Red. Done. Next book.
He's like, good book.
Good book.
Guys.
Hey, just, good book.
Good book.
Yeah. Actually, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I read Monster Blood for breakfast, and they changed the main character for that. I think they changed the character from Evan to some other kid.
Yeah.
They were not Evan with the other characters, like from Help, We Had Frank Flowers, and all the other books. And
I didn't read all the Horrorland books.
at the party with all the monsters that were trying to help them, there was no Monster Blood. Literally, there was no Monster Blood. There was no evil lizard lady for the final battle. So I know I'm going off course, but I'm just saying it just felt weird.
Yeah, it was definitely weird.
I didn't read all the Horrorland books, so I'm lost.
Honestly, looking back at this book, I think it was pretty decent. Just, I guess my problem going back to it was it's not that it's bad.
It's dated.
It's kind of a slow read to me. This and, like, Curse of the Mummies, two of the most boring books to go through,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
The problem is, a lot of these books are dated.
No.
They're not as interesting because they're dated, unfortunately. But you're right, it is a slower burn. Nonetheless, it was a decent book. I mean, the contact resolution of the monster blood growing and growing and becoming a problem to the point where it's like a house-sized blob. I guess my real issue is this. Nothing in the book was a problem, really. Not even Giant Trigger. Just how the ending kind of got, like, sewn together Frankenstein style. The monster blood was created by this witch, but it was in a toy store. That didn't make sense to me. Then the witch got eaten by the monster blood, and that killed the monster blood, but not really, because there's a little bit left, because it just felt like we didn't know we were going last minute. We closed our eyes and started swerving like our windshield wipers were driving us.
Well, that, and on top of it, I hate how, this is just my opinion, I hate how, like, the ending is just like, 2 seconds, done. Okay, we're done, guys. Game over. We're done.
Yeah.
In the book, it says, it ends with Eddie saying, hey, and they cry in surprise, it was gone. That's the end.
Dude.
Gone.
Yeah, it was a pretty stupid ending.
Oh, hang on, guys. Guess what? I'm adding a new segment. It's called We'll Be Right Back.
Goosebumps will return after these messages.
If you enjoy this episode and this kind of content, you should definitely check out this other podcast where we don't talk about Goosebumps. It's called Season of the Glitch.
We now return to Goosebumps.
And we're back.
I was reading the book while you guys were talking earlier, and I just figured out that the Monster Blood is 1 to 8 pages long.
Huh.
If you're not
Yeah,
getting the previous.
it's one of the more thick books from that era.
Monster Blood be
Yeah.
thick, dog.
Also,
128 though, nice.
I actually was gonna do like a video about that whole big trigger thing with the Monster Blood. But instead of Trigger, it was gonna be like Scooby and be like, instead of the witch, it was gonna be like one of the monsters.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. That would be kind of neat, honestly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see it.
Little Scooby-Doo X Goosebumps. I see what you're doing there. Alright, so plot-wise, it kind of fell apart towards the end, but it still wrapped itself up in a nice little package. Why don't we rate the book? Let's start with The Grinch. 1 out of 10, what would you give this book, The Grinch?
Probably maybe like a 7 or an 8.
Okay,
Definitely
okay.
a 7 because it's a slow book, but yeah.
Brandon, what would you give this book?
I'll give it a 6.5.
Okay. It was not the worst book, and honestly, I guess I have a bit of nostalgia to it. I remember reading it. It was one of the first books I read by myself, and I really liked it. So
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Guys,
Yes.
we're towards the end of the episode, right?
Kind of, real quick. So it gets a 21 between the three of us. This book scores a C, which is a 7. So yeah, now we can talk about the episode.
I think I'm gonna have a quick leave because somebody's gonna start chasing me about. Anyway, I gotta go and yeah. So see you guys next episode and Bye.
Here's hoping. Here's hoping Slappy doesn't eat his toenails. So yeah, wasn't a bad book. Was a decent episode. I hope he lives, but if not, we need to get a tombstone ready for him.
It is aged, but yeah, it was pretty good.
I think it aged more like a whiskey than a wine. It didn't age like a fine wine, but it didn't age like milk. You know what I'm saying? You know?
It's definitely... I don't know. I guess the only thing about the episode that I still have is, like, I do enjoy the episode, but I also sort of have I don't want to say a phobia of it, because I was terrified of this episode as a kid. I will not lie to you. I hated it as a kid.
Huh.
It was the first episode that freaked me out, and it was just like, oh my goodness. Like, I don't know what it was, because I was like 5 or 6 when I watched it, so it was just like, I don't like that.
I'm Flappy. I took over his phone while you was running away.
Oh no, the evil dummy.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
You better sleep with one eye open this week, because if not, I will come to get you.
I hope you do. I will feed you to my wood chipper.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see about that.
They'll stop calling you Slappy. They'll start calling you Celery when I'm done with you.
You never seen a dummy talk before?
Don't worry, I have. Don't worry.
Bumps.
It happened a really long time ago. Burger King
foot lettuce. Burger King foot lettuce. This was overall, it was a decent book, and the episode was pretty faithful, and I really don't have much more to say on this. I think that maybe too many Monster Bloods in the original series. I think we could have subbed out at least 2 of them for better books, like, I don't know, Haunted Mask 3, Return to Dead House, Stay of the Basement 2, Night Living Dummy 4. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah, true.
I'd take LA Jam number 2 at this point.
Yeah, actually, fun fact, that's Aussie fans' favorite book is Jelly Jam.
I have heard that. I'm not particularly fond of him personally, but that's another conversation for another day. Any closing statements? We'll start with Brandon.
Not really. I enjoy this book. The episode, I honestly have a little bit of nostalgia for, but also a little bit of childhood trauma from this episode. It's definitely one of the books that I will never probably forget about.
I feel that.
Okay, Slappy.
Closing statements?
I have to say, this is a fine book, but I still like Night Living Dummy way better than this. And the episode, it's the one I watch around every year, but it's the one I have stuck in my head.
All right. Yeah, overall, I enjoyed this book. I have a review of this book for Goosebumps Goes to Review that I'm rewriting because I couldn't get anyone to co-host for me, but no complaints on that. Eventually it'll be out. This will be out first, obviously. But yeah, this is the next book that the Goosebumps verse touches on for Goosebumps Beyond, but I still have to record Keep Out of the Attic. I'm behind.
Also, if you ever disrespect my series again, I will beat the living crap out of you. You hear me?
Loud and queer. This has been Goosebumps Podcast Can Be Murder. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.